Hi, Tiger 1050 Forum. I just wanted to show you the tablet option for GPS. You guys, if you have Garmin's, this is a pretty good solution. I don't use the Garmin anymore. I have one for the car, but I prefer this. It's basically a giant screen with a map. I don't like auto routing very much, so I don't typically like Garmin's. They tend to make me want to drive into trees and things because the different routes it picks drives me crazy. So I use this. I do have the routing set up so you can see it if you're curious. You can see it's got the turn by turn and some distance and time and things like that. My tablet's running really slow right now. As you can see, it's updating all the apps I have for some reason, so it's perfect for showing you a demonstration. So it's a little slow. A lot of stuff's going on in the background. This typically isn't too sluggish. It's not going to be as smooth as Google Maps or something. It's a little slower than that. But when you're driving down the road, you're not scrolling across massive amounts of terrain, so it's not bad. The one nice things of this OSM Plus, which is free, or you can get a $6.99 app, it's not expensive, is it color codes all the major routes. So you know what type of road you're looking at, highway, secondary, or whatnot, by the color. So it makes it easy to decide what you want to pick if it's going to be high traffic, like an interstate or whatever. When you zoom in, you get all the contours and terrain and secondary roads, bicycle paths. It's really a pretty well covered mapping application. So this is pretty good. As you can see, it's going to take forever with all the stuff updating. But it has some shaded relief and stuff in the background. You can see some state parks and things like that. You know, it's a mapping application. So pretty good option. I like this a lot. I really like the color coding and the detail. Has a lot of detail. You can offline individual states, countries, whatever you need to do as long as your device can support it. This is a Galaxy Tab 10.1. It's an older tablet. It's not very fast, so but it runs the map just fine. A 7-inch version of this, which wasn't available when I bought it, would be a much better option. And you can get I use this for my cell phone. It's another RAM mount. And these kind of like a little scissors device here, and these work really good. Nothing falls out of them, and they have them for 7-inch tablets, so great option. Other than that, the brightness is fine. You go out in the sun, you can see it. You just have to boost the settings up to maximum, which will affect the battery life. I have you can't see it here, but a USB plug in the back that I plug this into. So I don't really have an issue when it comes to battery power. The plug plugs into the bottom, so that's not going to be a factor if you're running at a high brightness. So this is the OSM mapping application. I'll show you the others I use on here. Google Maps. Obviously, if you have an Android phone, you're familiar with this. It's really good. It's much smoother. You can see the scrolling is much smoother. The detail, you've seen it. If you use Google Maps before, it's the same thing. You can navigate. It'll give you on-screen navigation. I can try to pick somewhere random. Let's see if it'll work. And navigate to it, which will give you voice and turn by turn and all that. So let's make sure I have volume on this. So we got some volume, so I'll go ahead and get directions for driving.
Head northeast on Benson Mill Road toward Yoho Road.
So there you go. It's Google Maps. You may have seen this or familiar. There's a bunch of stuff out that describes it. Mapping application's got the road distance and things like that on it. So this is great. One of the nice features about this, and I used this when I was in Italy about a month ago, are the offline options. So I'm going to have to deactivate the navigation to show you this. But what you can do is you go up here in the corner on these and you can click Make Available. And you see you got this box. This is pretty large. You can see it'll show you this red boundary if you're too far, but you have to scroll in a little bit, and you can see here I've got a box already selected, and that's on the device. So when you get that blue line, you can store that. It's a pretty big area. You can see here I've got all of Washington, D.C. and Baltimore and a bunch of the countryside on it. So a few of these tiles will cover most of your day's riding area. If you're riding across the country, it's going to be a pain because that's obviously going to be a lot of tiles and it probably won't be able to hold it. So it's great for local rides, I think, but not for long distance. So this is Google Maps. Pretty good. It's good for local riding. It's it's great. It has a lot of point of interest and stuff like that on it. Free as well, which is nice. So that's two options. Backcountry Navigator is another one. We'll see if this loads up smoothly. This is mainly what I use for satellite imagery. You can offline as much as you want with this as long as the device has memory, and it's got some high resolution satellite imaging on here. It's not bad. It's great if you have dirt roads, you're out west. I use this a lot in the desert when I was out in Utah and stuff. It's really good for that. It's got a little compass down at the bottom, and it's a really good app. You can also get any topo map you want on this, whether at any resolution. It covers it all. Has some nice topo relief maps. It's an awesome outdoor navigation application. Doesn't do auto routing or anything like that, but as a map, it's really good. And you have to. I don't know if there's a free version. There might be a trial, but you can purchase it. I think it's like $25 or something. It's not an expensive app. If you like to ride out in the desert or any dirt tracks, this is a really good thing to have. So that's Backcountry Navigator Pro that I have. One other option, I have Navigon. This is the first program I got. I've used this to drive across country. It's made by Garmin, and it's similar to Garmin. It has the navigation and things like that. Good road coverage. Works great. Gives you a couple of different routes. I think it costs $29 or something like that. But it's just another option. And this is 4 options I guess I have for this now. So unlike a Garmin device, you have a lot of things you can do with one of these. We're going to have to wait for it. I haven't opened this in a long time. It's got an update. So, Android device. I have this linked into my Sena headset in my helmet, so I can hear all the voice commands and things like that. Have all my music on here. Obviously, if you can get near Wi-Fi, you're good there. If you can get a tether application for a phone, either a Bluetooth tether or something like that, it would work too. But you obviously kill your data plan doing that. But it has all the other things you can get on a tablet. Lots of different apps. So these things are pretty nice. You can see here it's got some options and stuff. I'm just going to go to show map, but you can pick a place just like you would with a Garmin. It's made by Garmin, so it's semi-similar. But these are some of the options you have. This also has that 3D driving interface that Garmin has, which is nice, I think, sometimes. But I don't like the view distance because I look way ahead of where I'm riding most of the time. I don't really rely on those auto routing devices, so I prefer to see way ahead of where I am, so I know when to turn. I don't really like these 3D displays, but that's obviously a preference thing for you. So I hope this kind of answers some of the questions with these. If you're curious about it, I know it's a huge thing to have between your handlebars. They don't weigh much, so it doesn't affect handling or anything like that. Pretty good. The battery life lasts, I mean, it's probably 3 to 5 hours if you have it on high brightness or something with the Wi-Fi turned off. Wi-Fi tends to kill the battery life, so I generally disable that before I go. And I have a USB plug, so it's not an option, not a big issue for me. One of the things, if you do get one of these Samsungs, is the USB plug's finicky. It needs the proprietary charger it comes with to charge fully with a standard USB connection. So I bought this little extension. It's called, I think, a P1000, and you plug that in, and that takes care of it, and it charges like it should. The outlet I use is Blue Sea. It's a 2.1 amp 5 volt outlet. So that's how I use one of these. I'll try to show you the mount itself. You've seen RAM mounts. That's pretty much what they look like. Twist them any direction you want, any position you want, and then tighten them down. They're very sturdy. Thing's not going to go anywhere. So that's a tablet option. Hopefully this was somewhat useful for you guys who are curious about that.